Gird your loins, fellow Spartans, because today we're going to be enjoying some hot budget tablet action. Whoa! Here in Blighty, you can grab yourself a budget tab like this here Oppo Pad Air for under £200, which is almost half the price of even an older bog standard 9th generation iPad. But is that actually good value for money? Well, let's check out the Oppo Pad Air as an example, scrutinize it, see how it compares with the competition, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now for this sub £200 price point, you can actually get some pretty good looking tablets, and the Oppo Pad Air is no exception. It's nothing special, but it's certainly slick enough. Those bezels surrounding the display aren't too chunky, and it's pleasingly skinny as well. We're talking no more than a goldfish's taint from top to bottom edge. The Oppo Pad Air is a 10-inch device, pleasingly compact, easy to slip into a backpack or whatever, and a good size for browsing the web, reading a magazine, checking out a bit of Netflix or whatever. And at just 440 grams, it's comfortable to clutch in any orientation with just the one arm for extended periods, even if you've got pathetic wee Boy Scout biceps like myself. And flip it around and the arse end of the Oppo Pad Air looks pretty smart as well. It could be quite monotonous, kind of similar to the iPads, except for the fact you've got this wavy pattern kind of banner effect up top. Apparently this is inspired by the beauty of dunes at sunset, though presumably not the dunes at Seaburn, which are mostly filled with horny teenagers necking litre bottles of white lightning, about as much natural beauty as a sewage farm. Thankfully, the Oppo Pad Air is certainly more visually appealing, and you've got this lovely matte finish as well, so it doesn't get all fingerprinty and scuffy. You'll just have to occasionally buff it up. Now sadly, the Oppo Pad Air does not support a fingerprint sensor, which is a feature you'll find on a lot of budget Android tablets, but you do get some face unlock action as an alternative. It's less secure than a fingerprint sensor, sadly, and doesn't work so great in ultra CAC lighting, but otherwise does the job, saves you from having to enter a PIN or a password every time you unlock the device. As for the software running on the Oppo Pad Air, well, it is Android 13 with a bit of ColorOS 13 slathered on top, of course. Of course, different budget Android tablets support different launchers, but I quite like ColorOS. Like basically every Android tablet out there, you've got a nifty split screen mode which allows you to run two apps side by side in landscape mode. Fully customizable, fully adjustable, and you can also quickly and easily swap up which apps you have on each side just by tapping at the top up here. So get some podcasts on the go on the left hand side, for example. Boom, job done. You can also quickly and easily share your smartphone's network connection as well if you want to jump online and you can't find any decent Wi-Fi. That's just as well because there's no SIM support here on the Oppo Pad Air, just like with most budget Android tablets. And if your smartphone happens to be an Oppo blower running a reasonably recent version of ColorOS, well, you can quickly cast your smartphone screen to the Oppo Pad Air. You can also drag and drop files between the two. It's a pretty seamless setup. But for me personally, certainly, and parents across the nation, a good reason for owning a budget Android tablet is the fact that they've got some sort of kids mode involved. And this allows you to pick a selection of apps which you're happy for your wee darlings to bugger about with, and then you just hand off the tablet to them and it can keep them amused and entertained for hours, and more importantly, keep them bloody quiet too. And even with budget Android tablets, they generally come with some sort of case option, which not only keeps them protected, but also allows you to prop the buggers up. That's particularly great if you want to enjoy a bit of Netflix, Disney+, Crunchyroll, whatever you fancy, while you're doing a bit of cooking, cleaning, doing something else with your hands. I don't want to speculate. And with most budget tablets, the Oppo Pad Air included, you often get the option of a keyboard cover, which basically turns these things into a teeny affordable laptop. Super portable, skinny and lightweight, slips into any bag out there, and absolutely perfect for just smashing out essays, emails, whatever you want to while you're on the road. Now basically every budget Android tablet out there will come with at least 64 gigs of storage like the Oppo Pad Air. You can upgrade that here on the Oppo to 128 gigs. Well, the good news is you don't even really need to worry about it because there is actually a micro SD memory card slot, so you can chuck a card in there, expand that storage, job done. And expandable storage is a feature that you won't even find on those more premium priced tablets like an iPad. So let's talk displays, and here on the Oppo Pad Air you've got a 10.36-inch IPS screen, pretty standard tech for a budget tablet like this, and the same as what you'll get with Apple's iPad. And yeah, because it's not OLED tech, you don't get that crispy contrast, the deep blacks, the clean whites, but the image quality is still pretty decent. You've got some really lovely poppy colours when you're enjoying some more vivid Marvel fare, for instance. Good bit of anime shenanigans on Crunchyroll, and every frame looks packed with finer detail thanks to the 2K resolution 2000 by 1200 pixels. The viewing angles aren't terrible, a slight darkening of the picture as you move away from that front and central position. One of my only real proper complaints with the Oppo Pad Air's display is the fact that on maximum brightness, it's not quite bright enough when you are outdoors. You will struggle to see what's going on with murkier fare. And also this screen does top off at 60Hz as well. I would have preferred 90Hz for supported apps and also just to make for a more smoother UI experience. It's fairly standard shenanigans as far as budget tablets are concerned, but like most of the budget Android tablets, you do get some powerful audio spaffed out by this thing. The Oppo Pad Air actually boasts 4 1-watt speakers to get a good little stereo sound effect. If we bump up the volume to maximum levels, you see just how beefy it is.
Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 is in charge, so this phone can handle Genshin Impact, PUBG, any Android title you throw at it without breaking a sweat.
So while I certainly wouldn't kick back with some music belting out of these speakers, it's absolutely fine for just, a bit of YouTube's, bit of Crunchyrolls again. Absolutely does the job if you're just watching something while doing a bit of cooking in quite a noisy kitchen or some other quite rowdy environment. There is no headphone jack, unfortunately, on the Oppo Pad Air. That is a feature that you will find on a fair few budget Android tablets, but you got flawless Bluetooth 5.1 wireless streaming, you got support for LDAC, aptX HD, all that good stuff. And you've got your Dolby Atmos support, complete with various profiles to tweak the audio depending on what you're up to. Now, slapped on the front end of the Oppo Pad Air is a fairly standard 5-megapixel front-facing selfie cam, which is absolutely fine for doing your bit of Skyping, zooming, whatever with the folks. Not the sharpest image quality, of course, but it's a regular HD image, and it seems to cope quite well, even with awkward backlighting and other issues. Meanwhile, around the back end of the Oppo Pad Air, you've got yourself an 8-megapixel rear camera, and no, I'm not going to bother taking any samples with this thing, because frankly, if you use a tablet to take photos or shoot video, there's a special corner of purgatory waiting especially for you, filled with demons wearing steel-capped boots ready to belt you right in the knackers. As for the performance, well, this is one area where the Oppo Pad Air doesn't exactly excel. It is powered by the basic and aging Snapdragon 680 chipset, backed up by just 4 gigs of RAM. Thankfully, this still copes with most apps you chuck its way and can admirably handle some split screen and no worries. You can even do some light gaming on the thing on the likes of Call of Duty Mobile. This runs on the sort of lower to medium graphics settings with a pretty fluid frame rate. Although of course a tablet style device isn't the ideal way to enjoy a frantic action-packed online shooter like Call of Duty or PUBG. It's certainly much better suited to simple match 3 games, puzzle titles, stuff like that. If you do fancy a bit more beef out of your budget tablet though, maybe check out the Xiaomi Pad 6, which rocks a Qualcomm Snapdragon 870, much more powerful platform. As for battery life, well, the Oppo Pad Air packs in a 7,100 mAh capacity cell, and that battery life is fantastic, if not quite as good as some alternatives like the Xiaomi Pad 6 or the Nokia T21. You can still stream video for over 10 hours on this thing though, so it is ideal for road trips again if you want to keep your little munchkins nice and quiet in the back seat. And there's next to no drain when the Oppo Pad Air is hibernating as well, which is always great to see. So you don't leave it for a week, come back to it and it's as dead as a dodo. When it is finally drained, well, you've got 18-watt wide charging, pretty slow and lethargic, but that's the same with most budget tablets, unfortunately. But as an added bonus, you can actually use the Oppo Pad Air as a giant battery pack because plug a phone into it using that USB-C port and you can reverse charge. And that right there, in a lovely wee nutshell, is the Oppo Pad Air and most budget Android tablets in general. They're perfect for browsing the web, reading a book, reading a magazine, streaming your favourite shows on a bigger screen than your smartphone, and they're particularly good for keeping your kiddie wings entertained. And also ideal if you grab a keyboard dock just to use it as a makeshift laptop when you're on the go if you just want to smash out some emails. In that form, they're essentially just another version of a Chromebook. That's what I reckon anyway. What do you guys think about budget Android tablets? What's your favourite budget Android tab? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers!